Hey guys, look, I'm out on the Cub Cadet today. I forgot to mention this in one of my last videos, but we've actually got a bit of a project on our hands this winter because this tractor has just under 600 hours. I'm not sure if you can see that. Got 592 hours on it. It's just coming up on 600. And this summer it started acting a little funny when it was running. It would start blowing blue smoke like it was burning oil, and then it would start missing and backfiring every once in a while. And before we knew it, we would have to put half a quart of oil in just to go out and mow the lawn with it. So my grandfather was very careful to use it, you know, only as needed. Because of that, oh, we got stuck. Because of that, it didn't get a whole lot of use this summer like it usually does. And this is a Kohler Command 22 horsepower horizontal V-twin, which is supposed to be a pretty heavy duty, well, for modern standards, it's supposed to be a pretty heavy duty motor. It's the main reason one of the main reasons he bought this tractor back in 2008. I don't think I ever gave a thorough in-depth video of this machine, but so I figured I'd just take you guys along for the ride. It's got a 50-inch deck, and it's just big enough to fit through this gate. I don't know why we got a 4.5-foot gate. We should have gotten a gate that fits across the entire lane, but whatever. It wasn't my choice. But anyway, my grandfather uses this thing a lot. He treats this thing like a farm tractor. I mean, it was like a $4,400 machine new, and back then in 2008 it was one of the top of the line Cub Cadet models. So being a garden tractor, it's, you know, they set high standards for these. You know, that a lot of attachments available and tougher, you know, more reliable motors and transmissions and stuff. And it's comparable to I think it's a GTX series now, which is made by Cub Cadet. It's a shaft-driven, hydrostatic, you know, fully. Let's not get stuck here. That's their tough machine. Oh, this sucks. Stuck in the mud. What do you know? Sorry about that. Crisis averted. The ground's a little softer than I thought. I don't drive this thing much anymore. It's the only tractor we still have that has a foot-controlled hydro. So I'm not too familiar. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not used to driving that setup anymore. The 316 would have powered right through it, but this transmission is a cheap Chinese-built transmission, so it doesn't go as fast, and it can't take as heavy of a load as the older style like the 316 has. But anyway, yeah, so back in 2008, this was one of their top of their line models, this GT2550. And it's probably about the equivalent to a John Deere X540 or so back then. Although the X540 has hydraulic lift. This is a shaft-driven model. It doesn't have any hydraulic lift, which I think all the shaft drive John Deeres have had hydraulic lift, but this doesn't. And it doesn't have power steering either. But this was their expensive top-of-the-line model, and it was only like a $4,500 tractor at the most, without any attachments. And I mean, the X540 or something like that is a much more capable, reliable machine. So it just goes to show you the quality difference between John Deere and Cub Cadet, which is really made by MTD. But back to what I was saying earlier, as the summer went on, we noticed it started using a lot of oil, which we thought was really weird because this tractor is only 7 years old. Well, the motor's about 8 years old. The motor was built before. It started using a lot of oil, and we couldn't figure out why. And, you know, my grandfather's always on top of keeping his equipment maintained and, you know, running it. Not always keeping it clean, but he runs it and tries to take care of it while he can and get as much use as he can out of it. And I think we determined that either the piston rings are shot or the hydraulic lifters on the motor are bad. these Command Series engines use hydraulic lifters instead of just plain old valves. So we think one of them might be getting stuck, but I'm not sure. But it would just smoke and smoke, especially when you throttle it up. And of course right now it's not going to do it on camera because it's been sitting for a while. You're not going to see it, but it's on a hot day when it's when we're mowing with it, doing a lot of mowing, and the motor gets really hot. You can see it smokes a nice blue cloud of smoke, like even worse than the 210 used to do with the original motor. So basically what's happening is we're going to rebuild this thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a video series on this rebuild, but my uncle offered, it was a birthday gift to my grandfather actually, he offered to rebuild the motor for him. So I'm driving it up to the shop right now. We've had so much rain and bad weather around here lately that it's just been a mess. So I have to take it up the lane and then up the road. We have to take it up the road to get to the shop. And my uncle has time right now. There's no landscaping to do because of the rain. So we're going to try and work on this rebuild and see what we can do with it. Kind of sucks that a motor that's this young and a machine that's this heavy duty, you know, built to last for years and years, needs a rebuild. It's such a, you know, such low hours. I mean, it is 600 hours isn't it isn't a lot, but for a machine like this, I mean, they're not as heavy duty and reliable as they make them out to be, especially compared to the old stuff. I think we can all argue that. So I thought I'd take a video of me riding it up to my uncle's shop so you guys, so I could give you a little bit of info on what's going on with this rebuild and everything. And my uncle's going to rebuild it. I have to help him find some original brand Kohler parts. So quality difference between the old and the new stuff is just unbelievable. I mean, this was their top of the line garden tractor back in the day, and by that I mean 8 years ago. So you know, if you're going to spend a lot of money on it, you'd expect it to last a long time. But we put not even 600 hours on it yet. It already needs a rebuild because it burns oil. We're not sure. We have to tear it apart and inspect it. We're not sure if the rings are shot or what's wrong with it. But that's probably what it is. It's probably the rings. So we're all kind of disappointed about that. But my grandfather pushes this thing to its limit, doing a lot of mowing, a lot more than it should. I mean, that's a job that you have to use the 316 for, or something like that. This is the top speed too. I'm running wide open throttle with my foot all the way to the floor. This is as fast as it'll go. It's just a safety feature with these transmissions because they're not supposed to go too fast for safety reasons, which is really stupid if you ask me. But that's what happens when MTD takes over a company like Cub Cadet, such a well-known company. They ruin it. The MTD quality is not good. Like the Cub Cadet quality is not as good as it used to be. As with most other companies that MTD brought out. Unfortunately, this is the only good way to do this because it's so wet from all the rain back in the fields and stuff, and just be getting stuck. And with this machine, this transmission, it has no torque and no power to get out, and it can't even go that fast in reverse. So if you get stuck, you're screwed. Anyone want a 68 Chevelle? It won't sell. This is going to be fun. I was afraid of that. That could have gotten ugly.